Good evening. It is 5:30. If we could call the regular Amherst Board of Education meeting to order, please. If you're all standing, all join me in standing to the pledge of the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could you please call the roll?
Mr. Engel?
Present.
Mrs. Zappa?
Present.
Mrs. Giller? Present. Mrs. Snyder? Mr. Yacoboski?
Item 4 on this evening's agenda will be the recommendation to adopt the agenda as presented, including any addendums that you may have received. And support of that, Valerie? Is there any discussion or comments on that? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Yacoboski?
Aye.
Mrs. Snyder? Aye. Mr. Engel?
Aye.
Mrs. Gillis? Aye. Mr. Zappa?
Aye. Okay, right now, we would like to turn it over to Mr. Sayers for a couple of minutes to introduce some new staff.
Thank you very much. And we, as members here, we have, I think, 5 new teachers that we will be recommending, pending your approvals, and we'll be joining our Amherst staff. And I think most, if not all of them, are here this evening. So I thought it might be nice to take just a couple of minutes and have some of our administrators introduce our new staff members whose names you will see as part of this evening's agenda. And I think we're going to start with Special Officer Jeff.
Good evening. I am excited to announce that Corey Engel will be joining us next year as the Assistant Principal at Powers. We are so excited to have her on the Powers team. I know she'll do a great job. Corey has served as 9 years as an intervention specialist, so she has a great wealth of knowledge that she brings with that. And then for the past 2 years, she's been the Dean of Students at Nord, so she's got some great experience that she's going to bring to us. And it's been really cool to watch as she prepares for this role, because she's taken the initiative to come over and visit our preschool, because preschool will also be part of the thing that Corey will help to take care of next year. So I am so excited to have her with us. It's very cool. Two folks that I'm introducing today. One, unfortunately, couldn't be here. Danielle Buchkowski is going to be joining us at the high school as our new mild-moderate intervention specialist. She is coming to us after having spent the past year in Sandusky, and prior to that, around the Chicago public schools area, working as a therapeutic teacher, is what they call them, for students with emotional and behavioral needs. So I'm excited to invite her. And then I am also excited about Debbie Raisler. Where were you? There you are. Come on, stand up. This is a bit of a homecoming for Debbie. She is one of our own, coming back to us from Sheffield. You've been there 16 years with the Sheffield Lake Schools as a guidance counselor, and will be joining us at Nord as our new guidance counselor there. And so we are very excited to have Debbie joining us as well. Congratulations.
I'd like to introduce to everybody Kristen McKnight. Kristen will be a new 4th grade teacher at Nord. She comes to us with 5 years experience out of Geauga County teaching the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades. She was so highly recommended. When I called for references on her, her current supervisor said, if there was one person I could take with me if I had to get a new job, it would be Kristen. She's the very best, and we're so sad to meet her. So we're very excited to welcome her.
And with me, I have Eric Watts. And Eric Watts will be with the retirement of Mark Skladden. Eric Watts will be our new choir director. He has big shoes to fill, but we had a pretty good team with our band and choir. The entire team thought this was definitely the guy to replace Mark. So he comes to us with 9 years experience from Fort Clinton, OMEA Superior Ratings. Similar to what Jill just said, when I was talking to his principal, he said, what can I lie to you about? So we're very happy to have him. He's already coordinating with Chris Barbero the schedule for next year, so he's already in it. Married to another music teacher, so it's in the family. He runs half marathons, and right now he's training for a full marathon. And his passion just came out loud and clear, love for kids, and his experience we thought was critical. So we're excited to have him. Eric Watts.
I think that concludes our list of new staff that we'd like to introduce at this time. With the board's permission, we'd like to move into the recognition of our retiring staff. And we have some folks that could be here tonight for church commitments and other things, but we have some folks who are able to be here. And again, I want to introduce our building principals who will introduce in turn retiring staff. And let's go ahead and start with Powers, if we could. Beth?
Here's Kathy. Here, Kathy. All right. So this is Kathy. 25. Kathy retired in February with 25 years, and I, as one of our custodians at Powers. And I know it was a very hard decision for Kathy. We talked a lot about whether or not she was ready, because Kathy truly loved the kids at Powers. And she would come to my office and tell me, she'd say, oh, I talked to such and such today, and you gave me a big hug, and you just felt that love for students. And so we are excited for Kathy that she can spend more time with her family, but we are happy that she gave us those years and took such good care of our Powers kids. So thank you.
Andy Gibson, junior high school. Andy's around somewhere.
So we have 3 retirees leaving my building. The first that I'm going to talk about is Barb Heister. Barb Heister is our media aide, who's a librarian. And then, as most of you know, we converted to the CLC. And Barb took over the CLC, and I can't tell you how impactful she was in the CLC and just grasping the new technologies and working with our teachers. I think every teacher in our building would tell you that Barb was like the ultimate team player and would do anything for anybody. So Barb is retiring. She told me that her husband's been retired for 9 years, and he told her that he is going to start vacationing with or without her. That she should go with him, so she is going to retire after this year. And we also have Marie Cole, who was a part-time Spanish teacher in my building. And Marie, if you've ever been into her classroom, is incredible with kids. It's a nice mix at the junior high level of Spanish and English, and really demanding a lot out of the kids and making them use the language, but also finding the kids where they're at, meeting them there, and then really helping them grow. Marie's been a great influence, I think, on the kids in the district for a long time, so we're really going to miss her. But we're excited to be having a half-time Spanish teacher that will be replacing her. And then finally, Kirk Haggard, who also couldn't be here tonight. Hopefully that's not a reflection of me. But Kirk couldn't be here tonight. Kirk is one of the most organized teachers, and I'm not talking about PE teachers. I'm talking about one of the most organized, well thought out, well planned teachers that I have ever been around. I mean, Kirk really took a lot of pride in what happened in his classroom, like a lot of our teachers do. And he had things meticulously stepped out all of the time. I mean, he was one of those people who you just loved being around because he really loved the job. He loved to get, into it and do it with the kids and constantly actively involved with them throughout his classroom and through his lessons. And he took a lot of pride in the gymnasium and that being his learning space. And so we're really going to miss Kurt too, because he is a real valuable member of our team. So we appreciate all 3 of them, and we will miss them. But hopefully, we'll be able to continue doing great things with the people that we have replaced them. So thank you.
And there's actually 6 from Steele High School, so I believe 3 are here and 3 are not. So I'm going to start with the 3 that are not and then bring up the other 3. Kay Zatowski, Home Economics. She was hired in 1997. Interesting talking with her coworker. Actually, early in, she worked, I never heard of this, the morning at Elyria High. and then she came here in the afternoon. So she actually worked at 2 different districts, AM and PM, which I'd never heard of that before. But before that, she wanted to stay home with her family. She actually, on South Amherst, right at 113 there, actually owned the Quilting Creations store. My mom's a big sewer, so she actually knew my mom as I was talking with her. She wanted to be a teacher her whole life, and now that she's retired, she owns a farm in New London. So that is Casey House. Bill Matthews was hired in 1984 and 35 years in Amherst, and he also spent 3 years in Toledo. While in Amherst, he taught social studies, personal finance, and he was our CDI teacher. He also did extracurriculars, softball coach with 500 wins, football coach. Chris Russo talks about him as being an instrumental wrestling coach for him when he was the state runner-up back a while ago. Dave Zavar, for those of you who don't know, is his brother-in-law, and he gave me a lot of stories that, well, since this is public record, I better not share, but I got some good, interesting stories about Bill Matthews. But so that is Bill. Gary Soy is our chemistry teacher, and you won't meet a positive, more smiling individual the whole year. He found out he didn't have to do evaluations or anything if he just declared, I'm retired. And so everything we say, he'd smile and say, I don't care, I'm good. Probably when I knew I made it with him, though, was there's mold day, and that's a big thing in the science department. And he makes, I don't know if he does it or his wife does, but he makes mole cookies. And I won't do it in front of you guys, but if you make a mole face, you get a cookie. And you can see I like cookies. So I had a few mole cookies. So, but he's looking forward to retiring life also. So Mr. Positivity will definitely be missed. Gina Welch. Come on up, Gina. So Gina started teaching, we won't do the math, but 1980 at Murray Ridge, and then Lorraine Schools, and then came to us in Amherst. Loves her gardening, nicknamed the Tomato Lady. Talking to some of her girlfriends earlier this year too, she has brainwashed some of her students to say, oh, Mrs. Welch is the beautiful teacher that I love, adore, and is skinny. And I asked a few kids that, and they most certainly recognize it. So,
when they want something instead of saying please, they ask what do you say?
You're skinny.
So she's so skinny, she's headed on a family trip to Cool for a little bit. But the hallways won't be the same without her. And
It was wonderful. And it was an honor to work with Amherst Schools to bring the kids with multiple handicaps to Amherst School, because prior to the child behind were farmed out. Wonderful to be a part of that. Thank you for all that wonderful.
Ruth Uhas is our second consumer family science teacher that is retiring. So yeah, we have a teacher from the junior high coming over, and we actually hired another half-time teacher. So, but Ruth came to us, came here from Toledo because she loved schools. Started off as a half-day teacher and then substituted. Last 18 years taught family consumer science. Looking forward to time with kids and grandkids who live out of state, I believe. So she's passionate about it, and her dream, I think this winter, she's headed to Hawaii. So she's looking forward. So
Yeah, I wanted to go to Hawaii since the second grade when our schools, since the second grade. My school, they did Christmas around the world, and we were assigned Hawaii. And so, of course, they had to tell us what Hawaii was and explain it, the palm trees. And, we then did the Hawaii, we did the hula with the crepe paper dress skirts. So I've always worked together, so that's where I hope to go. I've been really grateful for my job. I've been grateful for all the friends that I've met here and all the people that I have worked for, because I did work for many of you before. I have had, I used to do this little preschool party, and now I have some of the children who came to the preschool party in the early years are now students of mine. And I've had babies, people who had babies, and then they end up in the neighbors' kids were all there, and so it's been fun. It's been a really good time. Thank you. I have 55 pairs of pants to get finished this week.
Maestro, Mark Skladden, came to Amherst from Midview in '97, is that right? Awesome rapport with students and staff. This past weekend, for those of you who were able to, went to the Pop Show, and I had heard about that. Even in years past, this Pop Show I hear all about, and going there Friday night, you clearly see what a well-greased machine, the preparation he puts into his kids. They put on one heck of a show. Anytime you're in that position, there's certain positions, you take on the community and you become a face of the community, and Mark has definitely done that for us. Looking into retirement, looking to maybe do some jazz piano work, give some music lessons. He can finally vacation in October, so finally get the cheap rates on the flights that none of us in this room can get. But, and Cancun?
That's fun.
Cancun. But honestly, so big into traveling, sports, music, and now he can do that at his leisure. And I won't let the cat out of the bag, but when you're as good as this guy is and talented, he might not spend much time retired, because there are other...
Somebody called me today.
Yeah, so you never know. So thank you, Mark, for your service, and appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Joe.
Yep.
Pleasure to work with the students and certainly the staff here at in the Amherst schools, and I thank each and every one of you for your friendship. Thank you.
I'd like to move into the Crystal Apple presentations if we could at this time. Mike, I didn't know if you wanted to say just a couple of things about Crystal Apple before we introduce those that will make the introductions.
The Crystal Apple Award we do every year is recognize those volunteers who, again, the good nature of the support the school districts, and we're open to anyone who wants to be nominated. This year I think we have 3 winners of the Crystal Apple Awards, and so the principal that they work with are going to come on up and probably call them up as well and talk about them and present the Crystal Apple Award. So Beth and Jill, come on up.
Darcy. Okay, so this is Darcy Parsons. She is an active member of our Powers PTO. And one thing that I thought was really cool is, my job gets a little busy, which is why I'm so thankful that Corey's coming over. And so sometimes I forget things, right? And I had 3 different people come to me and say, are you going to nominate Darcy for a Crystal Apple, because she totally deserves it? And that is the first time that that's ever happened, where I've had multiple people come up and say, this is somebody who needs this award. So that's really awesome. So Darcy has volunteered with our PTO for a while, and this year she undertook a huge project. The Harlem Wizards game that went on in the fall was all because Darcy made it happen. She took care of doing the contract. She recruited people to be members of the team. She took care of arrangements for the players to where they were going to stay in hotels and getting places. There's so much background to that. It it was a ton of work, and it was a super successful event. Not only was it a great fundraiser that helped to raise funds to pay for our new playground, but also I think the coolest thing was I just had so many people that came up to me afterwards, sent me emails or messages afterwards to say like how fun it was, and that they loved that it was a great chance for families and for staff to get together and laugh and have a good time. And so Darcy is amazing, and she's agreed to do it again next year, which is so awesome. So Darcy, I give you your help very much. Thank you.
Our Crystal Apple Award recipients are Sarah Yoder, our PTO president, and Jen Den, our PTO treasurer. And this year, they came on last year and have done just about everything they possibly can around our school to help out with different things, whether it be raising money for our Gaga ball pit, which was a huge undertaking, and going out to the JVS and finding the resources to build that pit with very little funding. Like, they didn't have to spend a lot of money on it. And because they were able to get everything put together, it's the most exciting place for kids to be at recess. They loved being out there. We had turf donated in rock, and the JVS put the whole thing together, and they facilitated all of them coming out and setting up all the work and working with Chuck, our buildings and grounds supervisor, to make sure that all went together. And then not only that, but then they also helped us raise a bunch of money through the walkathons and that kind of thing. That they've donated $25,000 to our new project for our media center to get a little bit of a facelift to try and be like a junior CLC. So we're extremely grateful and thankful for everything that they've done to help Nord and our students as well.
At this time, we'll take just a 10-minute recess so we can congratulate all the people that have received Crystal Apples, as well as those that are retiring and those that are new to this camp. So we'll take about 10 minutes, and there's coffee and cake over here. Please help yourself.
Thank you.
Item 9 is the public of the hearing of the public. I can't read straight or backwards today. Hearing of the public. No one has signed in to address us this evening. So we would move right on to the treasurer's report. This will be item number 10. Please.
Good evening, board and members of the audience. This evening, I would like to go over a rather large section of the agenda for me. Tonight, the first thing I want to explain briefly to the board is the document you have, which is the schedule of revenues and expenditures for this April as compared to last April. We went over this last month for the month of March. In green, you see highlighted favorable there. So for revenues, their revenues that we received earlier this year than last year, and then conversely with expenditures that came in less than last April. Bottom line is last year, April to this April, we are actually sitting with greater cash than we did last year at this time. My caution is that the months of May, June, and July, and August, we have declining cash balances due to we receive state settlements twice a year. The one thing that I want to point out in the revenue section, however, line 1035 is unrestricted aid, which is our foundation revenue. We are going to come in just at about $15 million this year, and hopefully what will happen with the budget bill is that we will see the same or greater funding. There's potential for greater funding, but not enough is known to build that into the forecast, which I will cover a little bit later. So the first item is the minutes from the April 15th regular board meeting. I asked for approval from the board. Item B are the treasurer's financial reports for the month of April. That includes the check register, the financial reconciliation, and many other items that we see every month. Item C are the revisions to appropriations, and the first 4 items you see in the revisions to appropriations are federal grants. 516 is our special education grant. 572 is our Title I disadvantage. 587 is our Early Childhood Special Education Fund, and 599 is our Title IV, which is student supports. These reflect a series of corrections that the Department of Education has done this spring. More revisions to the CCIP allocations than what I've ever seen before. These reflect just reconciling our book to the ODE allocations. Some of them are minor increases, some of them are minor decreases. The 029 fund, ASEF, is the Amherst Schools Education Foundation. This increase reflects the recent receipt that we received from the Lorraine County Community Foundation for the scholarships for which they manage the endowment, the Amherst School Education Foundation grants, and the Fine Arts grants. And then item D is the 5-year forecast, and that's the next thing I will talk about. If you will turn to your document, the 5-year forecast, and the 22-page assumptions document, I will only highlight certain things from that this evening. There is very little change to the forecast from the October forecast. May, as you know, is an update. It's required by the Department of Education and Ohio Revised Code. The purpose of it is to facilitate the district in long-range planning and initiate discussion regarding potential financial issues facing a district. It is the basis for the treasurer signing the 412 certificate, which is statutorily required by the Ohio Revised Code section 5705.412. And it provides a method for both the Department of Education and the Auditor of State Office in identifying school districts with potential financial problems. So the revenue update, not a lot is happening differently than what we originally projected in the October forecast. Both real estate, line 101, and public utility, line 102. Revenue came in slightly under forecast, nothing to be alarmed at. They came in 6.5% off of what was projected in October. Unrestricted, I just spoke about that for a moment in the revenue expenditure update. Unrestricted foundation is coming in exactly what was projected, just about $15 million for the year. Restricted, which is line 104, is comprised of three major types of funding. One is disadvantaged funding, one is career tech funding, and the other is catastrophic cost reimbursement, catastrophic aid reimbursement. So the timing of that reimbursement is not always in the current fiscal year. So it will either come in late June or it will come in July. So it might skew that line a little bit this year or next. If we receive the catastrophic aid this year for last year's excess, we will come in just under what was projected. And then line 106, other revenues will likely exceed forecast. We usually receive 200,000 or more in all of the different types of other revenue in districts. As far as the expenditure update is concerned, both salaries and benefits will be coming in just slightly under what was originally projected in October. Those changes are reflected in the forecast. Both of them changed by about $200,000 better than last projected in October. Supplies and materials, however, you'll see the greatest change from October. We are projecting about a $400,000 increase in supplies and materials as opposed to what we had projected in October. And that is primarily, first of all, it's due to many factors, but the supplies categories, including software, texts, bus fuel, and bus parts. Those are the major categories in the 500 objects category. I always include the disclaimer, as anything changes, as any, statutory body makes changes to our funding, et cetera, or board of revision, or whatever it is, they can materially affect the forecast. So I just want to mention that. And the amended substitute House Bill 166, otherwise known as the biennial budget bill, is moving through. And there haven't been any major cuts. There have actually been proposed increases in funding for next year and the year thereafter. It's still too early in the budget process to anticipate that and work it into the forecast. So just to conclude, we remain financially on track through 2023 as reflected in the forecast, with the remaining cash balance in 2023 of just over $9 million. I do want to point out to the board, though, that on line 601, those negative numbers there indicate greater expenditures and revenues. So our cash balances are falling. A renewal levy, as stated before, will likely be presented during the 2022 school year. And we will continue to closely plan expenditures and monitor as proactively as possible. Anybody have any questions about the forecast? Then the next item on the agenda, item E. In the attachment 11A, you will see the health renewal, which is through our consortium, Lake Erie Regional Council of Government. A 5% renewal to the health insurance premium and a 6% renewal for our Cigna dental. Item F is Exhibit 11E, and that is an agreement with a company called Spyglass, which will audit local long-distance telephone, cellular telephones, which we don't pay for in the district, data, internet, POTS lines. And what they do is if they find any incorrect billings, they would share in the cost recovery. It's pretty standard. They work with a lot of school districts. I think they've worked actually with about a quarter of the school districts in Ohio already. Item G, approve an activity fund for the Alumni Association to be established, please. And then item H are the following donations.
So we entertain a motion for items 11A through 11H, please. Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussions, comments, or questions on any of those items? Hearing none or seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Zappa?
Aye.
Mr. Yakobozzi?
Aye.
Mrs. Gillis?
Aye.
Mrs. Snyder?
Aye.
Mr. Engel?
Aye. Item 12 on this evening's agenda would be Mr. Sayers' report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Engel. I actually just have one item this evening. Wanted to introduce Chuck Grimmett, our Buildings and Grounds Supervisor. Chuck has worked very hard this year, obviously on many things with the building project, but one of the things he also did is apply for a $40,000 grant through the Bureau of Workmen's Comp, and just found out recently here, I think over the last week or so, Chuck, that we actually received that grant for $40,000, and I thought I would turn it over to Chuck for him to explain really what this means for our district and the positive things that will happen as a result of it. So Chuck, it's all yours.
Thanks. Good news for Steele High School. The safety securities grant was from Bureau of Workers' Comp just to try to alleviate workers' injuries and safety within our schools. So there was a lot of things to apply for. And what fit most for our needs was the first one is ballistic film that goes on our glass. So all the glass that's in our front entrance will be coated with ballistic film, and it will stop a rifle bullet. So it will just if we ever have the incident where we have a problem, there'll be an extra couple minutes that people can get to safety. This ballistic foam actually goes on the inside. The glass slows the bullet down. The ballistic foam will absorb the impact. So that's one of the most largest safety items. The other item is we're going to get a complete camera system for the school. Our cameras are aged and they don't support the new technology. very hard to, very grainy. Something happens in the school, it takes a half hour, 45 minutes for someone to really figure out which camera where. And so this will be a complete new camera system for the whole school. And hopefully integrate this area, this is on a separate system, integrate the CLC in with the new system. So the principal will be able to just pull his phone out, check the camera within minutes of an incident. And then the third, we got 6 automatic floor machines. They're lithium-ion battery, steerable. Right now, our custodians, and a couple of them are just these little Energizer bunny gals that but they're lugging these heavy machines around filled with water, and they have to drag them around. These are steerable, which are kind of cool. They sort of float around, and so just to help back injury and just to help keep our building clean and sanitized. So 3 of them will probably go to the new school, and the rest will be distributed to the other schools. So it's a great thing. We'll have to kick in some money, but you know, at least the state of Ohio is dropping $40,000, and so
It's basically a matching, isn't it, Chuck, where we expend, I think it's 40 or 45,000, and get a 40,000 now.
right.
Correct. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, so we were getting $87,000 worth of goods where we have to kick in the 47. So we still have to buy those machines for the new school anyway, so I think it's just going to be a great deal all the way around. Plus, Officer Layfield and the folks down at the Bureau love the idea of the ballistic film. So, you know, keep all the teachers and the students safe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That concludes my report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Muller?
Yeah, just 2 quick items. First item is on the agenda tonight, I think it's 15H. There is an item to approve a small contract with Final Site, which is our company with our website. We've been discussing this for a couple of months now. As you know, if you want to access the website, for example, on your phone, you're actually pulling up a web browser, going to the website, and trying to do it that way. We are going to create an app for your phone, which is separate from the website. It will pull information from the website, but not all the website information, and it will function very much like an app. So you'll have the most critical and basic and most important information, events, calendar, staff information, link to Facebook forums, in an app form, which will cut down on the speed and efficiency for community, staff, and parents. So look for that hopefully over the summer, definitely by the beginning of the next school year. Also, last month we approved an agreement with Power School Enrollment, so we can start doing our enrollment and registration, and also our yearly updates online, which will eliminate all of the blue forms that we have and pass out every year. So the parents will do that directly. What's nice about that is parents will have the information and it will go directly into Power School. So we will not have to have staff members, office staff, secretaries constantly trying to update information. Power School is changing how they do contacts. So right now, if you have 3 siblings in the district and you have 3 different schools, they have 3 different parent information. So there's probably 3 different Michael Molnars in there, my wife in there. And so if I call a school to update a phone number, a secretary ignored might update the phone number, but the phone number might not be updated Powers or Steele because that has to be done separately. Context now, there's 1 parent in the system, 1 student, they're all connected. So if a parent updates a home phone number, it's automatically updated to each student in the district. So this online enrollment, registration, information, we can also do things like your technology acceptable use policies and other things you have to sign. So we'll do that. We're in the process of starting that. That will be ready probably at the beginning of the school year, but we will be notifying parents within the next week to let them know. One thing they're going to have to do is create a parent portal in Power School. Right now, we have about 3,800 students. About 1,200 students do not have a parent portal created, which means that neither parent, guardian, no one's created an access for them as a parent, right? So they're kind of in there on their own as a student. So we're going to be sending home the information to those specific parents, tell them they have to create a parent portal account because in the fall and August, they're going to need to go online and do their emergency information updates directly through their parent portal. So I think it's going to be some process here in August, but I think once we get it going, it'll be efficient, effective, cut down on staff time, teachers, secretaries trying to collect information, and we'll just be pushing it on, I guess, on the parents' plate, having to do it directly. And again, it'll be much more efficient for them as well. Instead of filling out all those blue cards, they just do it online. And the system also remembers things. So once you had your first student in, you had your second child in, it'll say same address, yes, same telephone number, yes, same doctor, yes. It'll be much more efficient for them as well. So we're in the process of doing that.
What about parents that don't have access to a computer?
We will be setting up some things, probably like in open houses in, like a table open house with 3 or 4 computers. Any parent who doesn't have access can do that. Also want to mention real quick, something coming down the pike, since you mentioned about parent access. One thing, Doug Condell is a new technology supervisor. Marcos is retiring. He's been on board just a few weeks, as you know. One of the things he also mentioned already was there's a grant to possibly get Department of Defense laptops and computers when they're finished with them, but still obviously up to date and usable for schools. So he talked about possibly getting those, and he actually said he came up with a name already, Project Pass, which is what it stands for. I think it's something access for students at home. So that's a program I think we'll be looking at in the future of possibly getting items like laptops for parents to access things at home if they don't have access, because we have a few students who don't. So those are some things that we will definitely take into consideration when we move ahead with some of these items. Okay. So I have my report.
Questions for Mr. Moore? None? Okay, a quick update from the JVS. As you know, senior recognition for the JVS was held last Friday. I know Steve was there at the Palace, just representing Amherst students as they completed their year at the JVS the last couple of years. We also are in the end of year stuff for the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen as they wrap up here in the next couple of weeks, things that they're doing. At last week's board meeting on Thursday evening, I know the question came up last month about whether or not that we would be going back on the ballot for a PI levy. It was voted that we will be going back on the ballot in November for a permanent improvement levy for the vocational school at 0.66 mils, which will produce the same amount of money as 0.7 mils with the things as they are as of today. So I just wanted to share that with you, so there'll be more coming. Again, the Amherst schools has always supported very strongly the JVS, and I think that if you've seen some of the students and their accomplishments, the graduates Saturday, and have completed their work at the JVS, you can certainly see that. You heard this evening how Nord has utilized the JVS in helping them with their playground things. I know that if you recall, they helped build the dugouts for the baseball fields, and I know that we're working on possibly another project as we move forward with building, tearing down the office building or the board office. So as you can see, we work great, much hand in hand with the JVS, and certainly have a great partnership with them. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to entertain them. If not, we would move on. No questions? Is there any other reports that I neglected? Most of you are aware that last week was the Senior Awards Scholarship Banquet that we all attended. I congratulate the foundation for their excellent work again and everything that they do to make that happen. And the total of money, I forget off the top of my head, it was several $1 million that was awarded.
3.4, wasn't it? 3.4 with, the presidential scholarships and over 100 of local scholarship money.
And it was quite impressive when you saw that you had a student going to West Point and the other ones that are attending the military as well. But those values that are added to that and the price tags on that are phenomenal. So again, I want to congratulate everyone on their efforts, whether it's the students for all their hard work in trying to achieve those scholarships, and for all the donors to the foundation for all their dollars to continue to allow us to provide such great education scholarships for our students. With that, I would move on to personnel recommendations, item number 14.
Mr. Engel, I know the board's had an opportunity to review the agenda. There are a number of personnel recommendations that are standard and fairly routine for this time of the year. Recommendations for summer help. Also, this is the month that we handle contracts for our support staff. You see in item E and F, those are the recommendations that I alluded to earlier for Corey Engel and his new assistant principal, and new teachers that were introduced earlier in the meeting. And looking at this, I think we may want to, I'm guessing it's the board's desire to handle item X separately. So at this time, I would recommend approval of items 14A through 14W.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion or comments on any of those items 14A through W?
It is actually 14A through 14X.
No, W.
Voting separate.
Actually, voting X. Okay. I would just publicly state that I will be voting on this. There is no relation between the Engel that's on here for renewal or for hire related to me whatsoever, so I will be voting on all of these issues. Is there any other discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gillis.
I make a motion.
Okay. Mr. Yacobozi.
Aye.
Mr. Zappa. Mr. Engel.
Aye. Item X, please. Is there any discussion on item X? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gillis. Mr. Zappa. Mrs. Mentor. Mr. Yacobozi.
Abstain.
Mr. Engel.
Aye. Item 15 on the agenda with the educational recommendations.
Yes, again, a number of items here. Most of these are agreements and other recommendations as we plan and prepare for the coming school year. Again, I know the board's had an opportunity to review these items prior to the meeting. At this time, we'd like to recommend items 15A through 15M. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for items 15A through M. Discussion or comments on any of those items?
Mr. Yacobozi.
Aye.
Mrs. Snyder. Mrs. Gillis. Mr. Zappa. Mr. Engel.
Aye. Item 16 on tonight's agenda would be business recommendations.
Yes, just one item, and this is a recommendation to purchase 3 buses through the Ohio Schools Council. We're a member of that consortium, and they handle the bidding process for us. As the board probably remembers from last year, we purchased 3 new buses last summer. The plan is to purchase, pending your approval this evening, 3 this summer, 2 next year, and then 2 the year after that. Those have all been built into and factored into the 5-year forecast approval as presented earlier. So at this time, I'd like to recommend approval of item 16A.
Do you have a motion?
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion or comments on 16? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mrs. Snyder. Mrs. Gillis. Mr. Yacobozi.
Aye.
Mr. Zappa.
Aye.
Mr. Engel.
Aye. Item 17 on tonight's agenda would be a motion to adjourn into executive session to prepare for the collective bargaining of public employees with no action to be taken. And a second?
Second.
Any discussion or comments? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Yacobozi. Mrs. Gillis. Mrs. Snyder. Mr. Zappa. Mr. Engel.
Aye.